Hello everyone, my name is Ian. Welcome back to my hobby YouTube channel, In Brief Book and Film Reviews. So today I'd like to talk to you about a documentary I watched about a month ago. I thought it was a very good documentary. It's actually on YouTube. I'll send you links to it. And it was done in about 4 or 5 segments all the way through. So it was on for about 2.5 hours. It was highly detailed documentary that gave very good accounts in regards to the lead up, the people who were involved in it, and the police work which brought convictions to these bank robbers. This particular documentary was based upon the gang who are alleged to be called the No Name Gang, Boston Bandits. It's about the robbery on Hudson Bank Robbery. It was the Hudson Bank Robbery in 1994 on the 25th of August. And before I go on, I'd just like to say that there was two guards, on-duty guards, who were looking after the armoured car, who in actual fact lost their lives on this particular robbery. So it's really sad that these guys who were basically on active duty and they never returned home to their families who passed away. They were both of them were middle-aged men, and they were called, one was called Ronald Normandeau, 52, and the other was called Lawrence Johnson, 57. So I'd just like to say, before I talk about the case itself and about the court segments of the court investigation and stuff, and the court trial and stuff like that, I just want to say that at no time am I condoning violence towards other people, and that, in terms of taking their life away and bank robberies and stuff like that. So my thoughts would be with those two guys who lost their lives that day, and also their families. To get that news that your husband, your father, your grandfather is not coming home from a hard day's work, and an honest day's work, it would be very tragic indeed. So I'd just like to say rest in peace to those two gentlemen, and thoughts are with the family also. Okay, so before I talk about the court and that investigation and stuff, the trials and stuff, I just want to say that, as I said before, the documentary was very good, very informative. It showed you all aspects about the gang leading up, before and after the actual day of the robbery. It showed you how the police were able to investigate what they were looking on. Most of the stuff would be done, put on if you watch CSI, I think it is now, where they just give you all these clues and what the police do and all the rest of it. So, and they were dealing with at a different time as well, and DNA evidence and sophisticated technologies are much more advanced now than what they would have been around about that time in 1994, 95, 96. So yeah, I thought it was very informative. It was an excellent documentary, and it opened my mind up to a lot of stuff. It really did, in terms of the human rights and stuff, and just a whole load of stuff. Like I said, I'll put the links to the documentary and down below in the description. So if you want to click onto it and have a look yourself, go for it. So the actual bank robbery, the people who committed the bank robbery was Anthony Shea, 34, Michael O'Halloran, 40, Patrick McGonagle, 58, Stephen Burke, 41, and Matthew McDonald, 35. So they basically, went into, they were alleged to have done, like, being career criminals, done over 100 armored car and bank robberies in their career criminal enterprise of robbing banks, alleged to have made millions and put millions in, taken millions from these armored heists and stuff. There's a lot that goes into the story. Before, I've read a lot about this stuff online. Took paper clippings from, not, I haven't physically taken, I just take bookmark stuff online and that in terms of different sites. We're giving you some stories. And now some of the sites, some stories on the sites, they've actually got the dates of the bank robbery actually wrong. But I'm understood from the real sources that it happened on the 25th of August 1994. Some was suggesting it happened in 96, but it didn't. But that's neither here or there anyway. So they got convicted of the bank robbery on the basis of Stephen Burke, who was one of the robbers. His brother's confession. He was John Burke. John would have been a self-confessed murderer. So he got out of a car one day, came up to a guy who was taking groceries from his car or putting them in, and basically just, shot him in the head, I think it was, and, the guy died instantly. Now, he only confessed to this, I think it was when the guards basically, was giving him some sort of plea deal or something. So I just want to let people know, at the time, all these guys that did this bank robbery, they all would have Irish second names, obviously, like, Burke, very Irish second name, O'Shea, very Irish second name, O'Halloran, McGonagle, obviously, and McDonald, so from my understanding, that these could have been part of the Irish mob, and the Irish mob had connections at the time to the IRA, over in America, Whitey Bulge, I think can't think of his name, John McGee or something, or Gee, something like that. So they all had kind of some sort of connections. And reading up on particular happenings and going-ons in and around that time with the people who were convicted for this, the guys who did the robbery, they just reading up on what they were doing outside. It all kind of adds up to there could have been a possibility that these guys were robbing the banks to fund something there, and it also mentioned in the documentary that the two of them had developed serious drug addiction problems. I think it was Anthony Shea and Matthew McDonald. It also gave in the documentary suggestions and that Michael O'Halloran and Stephen Burke were immensely, even though they were into 40s, they were immensely fit. You walk down the road, you would never suspect them for being armored, robbers and stuff, and that, definitely not to the degree in what they were doing at the time. So going back to the case now, so John Burke had given information to the guards in response to the possibility that he was actually serving time at the time, 15 years, and there was a possibility that because of this new thing that came out under the Clinton Clinton, the time when Clinton was in office, where you'd have three strikes and you'd be out, you'd be lifed off. These were career criminals, and they were doing anything they could do to get out of prison or to stay out of prison, which led to the shootings of these guys. Come back to that now in a second. I don't want to spoil the documentary as well, I want you to have a look at it yourself without knowing what's going to happen. John would have been scared. He would have been doing 15 years at the time. He knew that his brother carried this out, and if he was indicted on any other charges, past and present, basically he kind of, the heart skipped, but the heart would have skipped and said, listen, if they're gonna if they're gonna rat on each other, the chances are they're probably gonna rat on me as well, so I'm gonna give these up before they try and give me up on that. But the rest of them all stayed quiet. They didn't say anything, and in the end, John kind of saved himself and put the rest in prison. And the methods in which the guards at the police used to get them convicted and kind of like give John immunity from being serving time for previous bank robberies with his colleagues, with these career criminals. I thought it was very I thought it was kind of mean, you know, like from the police, and we'll come to that now shortly, in that in terms of the trend that's going on YouTube and stuff, and that. I'm gonna do this into two parts in this, so I'm just gonna leave it now. This is part one, and I'm gonna do part two. So if you wanna click on the link below, and that part two will come up for you also. Okay.